Welcome to the second episode of Across the World. I'm Caden Greco. In this episode, I'll be talking to Jiro, Nicole, and Ariana about what school is like in their home countries. I was actually really surprised to learn that while their schools are very different from ours, they are very similar to each other's, regardless of their different locations across our massive globe. No matter where you go across the world, the school year starts and ends with a summer break. I talked to Jiro and Nicole about what summer is like in Germany and in Brazil.
So we start the year on March because we have different hemispheres. So in South Hemisphere, we start classes on March, like half February or March, and we have a 2-week break in middle July to end, and then we go back to school in August and finish on December.
Like the summer break are only 7 weeks, but we got like a lot of just 1 week breaks in the year.
Other than that major difference caused by the different seasons in Brazil, it seems like Nicole and Jiro have pretty similar summer schedules to us. I wanted to know what classes our exchange students are taking back home. Let's start with Jiro.
In Germany I had like math, German, English, chemistry, physics, music, art, biology, and then like bioscience.
Now let's hear the same thing from Ariana.
I chose a classical high school, so we study Latin, ancient Greek, math, philosophy, not psychology, and we study a lot of like ancient languages, history, and these things.
You might be wondering what Ariana meant by saying she chose a classical high school. I was wondering the same thing. So I asked her, what are your options?
It's basically, when you choose your high school, you can choose between classical high school, scientific high school, artistic, musical, etc. And based on your high school, you choose the university.
That is a big cultural difference between Italy and the United States. In the US, you obviously just go to your local school and determine which classes to enroll in from their curriculum. It is interesting that students decide which classes they will take by choosing an entire school in Italy. I was wondering if this was just present there, but I heard the same thing from Nicole.
Back in Brazil, we don't like any of the schools there. We can choose what we want to take, so it's the same schedule for every single student.
Speaking of classes in the daily schedule, I wanted to know how the class groups worked for students. I asked Jiro and Nicole to explain.
We stay in one group and have like every class a new teacher who's like teaching about math or English, and we only switch like the teacher, not the group.
In my class, we only have one class, so the teachers change classrooms and the class stay in the room. So we only have one class for all the subjects.
So students in Germany and Brazil stay together in one group for every single class. That structure is used in the US, but is usually halted once a student reaches middle school. I wanted to know how Jiro liked that structure versus the one in America.
Like in Germany I really liked it because I like my class, but it's probably a problem if you dislike your class or you don't come along with your classmates. In the US I think it's a little bit harder to get like friends because you always have like new groups of people you like have to come along with.
High school students in the United States are bogged down with large amounts of homework. I was curious whether this was unique to our country or was found abroad as well. I asked Jiro, Ariana, and Nicole how homework worked in their home countries.
So in Germany, teachers don't care if you do your homework and you don't get grades on your homework. So it's like on you if you do your homework or if you don't. We have like some people really don't have to do their homework because they're pretty good at school, but some people have to. So we got like, I would say like 50% do their homework and 50% only do their homework if they think it's like useful.
Not necessarily more, but it's so different because our homework is like they tell us only to study, like for example, okay, for next time study 50 pages and you study them, and then you have a quiz, usually oral quiz. And here they wanted to submit assignment, like physical assignment, and I'm not used to it because the philosophy in my school is like, okay, you could make your parents or someone else do your homework, but the knowledge, it's only in your head. Okay, my school is one of the most difficult schools, mine and the scientific school. So I think I spent 5 or 6 hours each day studying, sometimes more, sometimes less.
Back in Brazil, I will be honest, I don't remember like having a lot of homework. It's easier to study there, definitely. One, because it's my first language, it's Portuguese, so I'm not studying another different language. But also because it's like a week, like it's not as good as the education here, so it's definitely easier. And here, like, I'm having homework sometimes, but it's not like every day that I have homework, but it's definitely more difficult to me because it's always all in English, so I need to translate everything in my mind, and it's exhausting. But just because of this process, because it's not a ton of homework.
While there wasn't one unanimous consensus on the amount of homework in the US versus abroad, the workload seems pretty comparable. The concept of doing homework for learning and not for points expressed by Jiro and Ariana was an interesting one, and I believe if employed in the US, students would learn more as they wouldn't be doing their work just for the grade. And finally, I wanted to hear a little bit about after-school activities. While activities seem to be more limited overseas, I asked Jiro about what he does after school.
Most of the time I got like soccer or volleyball training, and otherwise I have like to study. We have to study like way more, I guess, in Germany than in the US because it's like more independent work. When I have free time, I used to play in an orchestra. I played drums and mallets and timpani, and I sailed and windsurfed.
Thanks, Jiro. Now you've heard what school is like in Italy, Germany, and Brazil. School is different in all of these countries, but it has one guiding purpose: to educate. Coming up in episode 3, we will discuss life as an exchange student at New Trier High School with our 3 students. Thank you for listening. I'm Caden Greco.